It is a wonderful day today and a very special moment in my life. Um, we are, Barbara and I have been live streaming on the internet for 16 years. And this is the launch of our 16th year. We usually, for sure, we do it every November because that's when the book comes out. The book I'm making reference to is Small Business Taxes. Whatever tax year you want, for the last 27 years, Barbara's got it in her library. And I first started, well, I just before the 16 years we've been live streaming, add another year. It took me that much courage to say, well, what can I say to Barbara Wellman? So 17 years ago, I started. I think I have every single big ideas for small business idea of the day that you've ever done. And what you said, well, so they're there. They're in my archive library. So if you ever, well, better yet, go to barbara@barbaraweltman.com.
No, Barbara at bigideasforsmallbusiness.com.
Oh, that the other one. I gave out your person. That's okay too. You got a good question. So, it basically, well, do you remember when we used to do the Friday after morning?
Yeah, we did it. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It was not unusual for 5,000 people to show up because we were on a website, and I was the only small business information
right
that hour going on. So we got a lot of traffic that way. Anyways, I wanted Barbara to do something that I've never really asked her to do. I mean, we talked around these things as far as the book goes, but I asked Barbara to create her list of 2024 the biggest issues, the issues that any business, big or small. I don't know if it's bigger the more issues or smaller or small, but at any rate, these are things and be clear, Barbara did not create these in any priority order. The tax code is what the tax code is. So your very first one, and welcome, Barbara.
Thank you.
The very first question is obviously what is the number? Well, what is one issue?
Okay, well, certainly a big issue is pricing and what inflation is doing to put pressure on your pricing. Let's face it, your expenses are up. I just filled up my tank this morning. The cost of construction materials are up. If you're in the construction business, whatever business you're in, you're paying more for your goods and probably for your services as well. And you have to reflect that in your prices or you're not going to stay in business. So you have to think about how much can you absorb in your pricing in terms of these higher costs, and what do you want your profit margin to be?
I just entered a conversation this week on LinkedIn about pricing, and the individual small business hasn't been in business very long. Said he could get customers to the 12th point, 13th point being the sale, and he could never get point 13. He was wondering why. And I said, deliver value, and it doesn't really matter what the price is. Make sure you deliver value. Okay, another one. And oh, this one scared me. They all scare me. Well, I'm a solopreneur. I can't identify with most of these issues. You pick out the issue. The number two.
All right, number two is finding employees. NFIB, National Federation of Independent Business, reports that 40% of small businesses had job openings they couldn't fill last month. Really, now the question is, and you have to ask yourself going into 2024, are we going to have a recession? Do you want to fill those job openings now? How are you going to fill those job openings now if you think that your business will be able to sustain your cash flow to pay them? So I think finding employees, if you read reports, that's identified as the big issue for many businesses who can't find employees who have the capabilities that they're looking for, can work for the compensation that they're offering, and are how shall I put this? Have the work ethic to really want to move forward and stay with them.
How asking the question, how does the fact that the pandemic created a new workplace, if you will, and it's the whole thing, do I go to work, do I go to a building, or do I stay at home? Can you add a comment about that right now in terms of what's going on? And
sure, I had that as another challenge for businesses going forward, is adapting to new workplace practices. I mean, do you go along with flexible work arrangements that we've had? The UAW on strike now wants a 4-day work week. Do you change do you go in that direction? How much flexibility can your business offer to employees so that they can create a good work-life balance? I think that's certainly important for many employees. So I think it kind of goes hand in hand with what I mentioned earlier, just finding employees, but also adapting to workplace practices. It also has to do with the benefits that you offer. What are you going to offer? What can you afford to offer? What are your employees looking for? I think business owners need to think about this. I think they need to assess what is going to be needed and appropriate in 2024.
Which kind of segues into your book, what's going on in the tax world, and how big a challenge.
Yeah. Well, sure. Look, every year we have more than 4 dozen tax breaks that have COLAs, cost of living adjustments. So the higher inflation, the greater the increase in these adjustments. And this means higher thresholds to qualify or to limit you. And so you have to really look at what the tax rules are going to be for 2024. They're not going to be the same if they are subject to COLAs. But in addition to that, we have many new rules, some taking effect that were enacted a while ago. And for example, let me just mention bonus depreciation. You're buying equipment. Last year, you could write off, in 2022, you could write off 100%. In 2023, it's only 80%. In 2024, it's only going to be 60%. So you want to know about these new tax rules. Another type of new tax rule, and I could do a whole program on the tax rule.
Well, you do a book.
That's why I write the book, right? Exactly. The Secure Act 2.0 changed a lot of the rules for qualified retirement plans and IRAs, and business owners need to know what they can offer, what they can incorporate in their plans and offer to their employees. And of course, this goes back to making it more attractive for employees to want to work for you because you're offering good benefits.
We talked a little bit before we went on about artificial intelligence, and how do you think artificial intelligence is going to play into? It's already playing into 2023 and moving forward, let's say.
Yeah, I think there's been a lot of fear mongering about artificial intelligence, and who knows exactly, what will the machines take over. But at least for now, artificial intelligence is a tool like the internet. Think about when the internet came along and how great we thought the internet was. And now we have artificial intelligence that we can employ in much the same way. I personally use it for research purposes. I don't trust it because it makes up stuff. It does. It fabricates.
I'm laughing because it boils down to trust of the information that you're getting.
Yeah, but it sort of is a heads up. Oh, I didn't think about this, and here's a new avenue to go down. So I find it helpful, and I don't let it write for me because I'm a writer, and I don't want somebody else's voice. I want it my voice, and and I don't. So I think that we are all going to learn how to employ AI and other technology, and it's essential that we do. If you don't do it, forget it. I mean, think about businesses who didn't use the internet. I mean, you're dinosaurs. So you have to do it, whether it's for customer relations or your finances or whatever.
Are you saying I'm a dinosaur? I love it. I've had a discussion with David, and the last time I said, David, he's a writer, and we don't want somebody else doing our writing for us. Okay.
Right.
And I said, but here's the thing I might consider doing. I might take my name and start developing the artificial intelligence so that when I pass, they'll still think I'm here right. They'll think about it.
All right. Sure.
Okay. What is going on in the world in regulations? I mean,
oh my gosh. Okay, so we can talk about regulations because they come fast and furious on the local, state, and federal level. I mean, it's really hard. It's so challenging for small businesses to stay up on regulations.
Hire a professional to help you to stay up.
But how? It's not regulations in one particular area. In other words, it could be HR related, or it could be your building, or it could be it's all over the place. I mean, that's kind of what I do every day, is just read everything that's happening, and I don't cover everything. I don't see everything, and but I think
you see more than a lot of folks see, for sure.
Yeah, I was just visiting my daughter in Maine last week, and there's a whole to do about regulating the fishing industry and what the federal government is getting involved, and the fishermen are up in arms and about the regulations. It's just crazy. So I think you have to figure out how to deal with it, because what happens is, if you don't, you can be penalized. It's going to cost you. So you gotta know what's going on.
And I'm smiling because that I've been a solopreneur for almost, right. And thank God I didn't have to worry. I mean, I don't know if I did it for 1 year, Barbara. I did it for 1 year, and we were very, very successful as a business. As a publishing, I started a magazine. We made a profit in the 11th month, but I was dealing more with what, other people's problems, not what I did best. So I said, I don't know if that's the best. Anyways, solopreneurs get together with other solopreneurs.
Well, that's it. I think networking is a very big help, and staying up on your industry, whether it's just through trade publications or attending meetings and whatnot, to find out. You got to hear in the grapevine what's going on. I think that is, and yeah, because I don't think small businesses can afford to pay all the experts that they would need to be in contact with to know about everything. So you have to kind of, and I advocate working with experts when you need to, but you can't do this on day in and day out.
I've always said, no matter what, if you can hire a great CPA and hire a great small business attorney,
do it.
Absolutely do it.
Yep.
Okay. Oh my goodness. I was with 2 nights ago. I went to a chamber in Cincinnati business event, and I talked to 2 young ladies who were bankers at the biggest bank, I think, in Cincinnati. And I just jokingly said to them, asked them, well, how's business loans going to be for the small business in 2024? And they kind of smugly out and said, well, if you're willing to pay the high interest rate you're going to get, then yeah. So
lending is tough. The criteria is stricter than ever for small businesses. And then, as you point out, you have the higher costs. So if you're going to borrow, it's certainly going to cost you. But with that said, businesses do need to, from time to time, borrow money for various reasons. And the best thing to do, I guess, is just make sure that you, as the owner, have a good FICO score, because that will impact could impact the, not depending on how you borrow, could impact the interest that you pay, and develop a credit score for your business, so that your business can borrow on its own. I mean, think about if Tesla needs to borrow money, they're not looking to Elon Musk to co-sign the loan, right? So, but small businesses, the owners are on the hook. So you want to be able to develop the wherewithal for your business to be able to borrow on its own, so you as the owner do not have to co-sign, and you're not personally on the hook for what's borrowed.
Did you suggest that you have Elon Musk's personal private line?
No, I don't. No connection.
He is, oh my goodness. Have we covered?
No. We skipped over one that is really important that I want to talk about, which is that there is a new business owner registration requirement that takes effect on January 1. It's due to the Corporate Transparency Act of 2021, which says that business owners of businesses that have to register with the state, meaning any kind of corporation, limited liability company, limited partnership in many cases, business trust, anything that files with the state, must disclose the owners to the Treasury. And you're going to have to do this electronically. Larger companies don't have to do it. $5 million in revenue and 20 employees and some other criteria, they're exempt. There are 23 exemptions. But for small businesses, this is a new registration requirement, and the penalty, and for new businesses, you have to do it within 30 days of when you're formed. For existing businesses, you have all of 2024 to do this. So we'll be getting more information and how to do it. Sole proprietors, general partners don't have to do it.
Sole proprietors don't? Well,
no.
I was listening to you.
Because you don't have to you're not formed under the state,
but I do have an LLC.
An LLC, then you're going to have to do it.
Well, thank you for reminding me. Do you remember the time that years ago, it's one of the greatest bits of recommendation you ever gave to me? We were talking about the book, and we were talking about something, and I asked the question, and you said, well, why don't you use the one of the online accounting services to do your taxes? And I had never done anything like that before. So that year I went online and I filled out myself, and I learned more about my business because I was learning about it on a line-by-line basis.
Mm-hmm.
Because I never had to worry about it before. And it was a great exercise that I highly recommend folks. So thank you for reminding me. That was about six or 7 years ago you did that.
At least, yeah. And then of course you have to say that you had a CPA look it over and make sure that you did it right, that you got everything. So that was helpful.
So should I go to sba.gov to fill out that form?
No, it's through IRS. The IRS has the fillable forms, yeah.
So it's an IRS form. Okay.
The fillable forms, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And the fillable forms is free through the IRS. Yeah.
Well, I want to thank you again. Didn't I send an email earlier this week to you and said thank you for putting up with me for 16 years?
Yeah. All right, we got 2 more things to go here.
I thought we did.
No, we have 2 more things. Okay.
We've been jumping all over, and I haven't been doing it because some of them go to. Okay, go for it.
We have being able to afford new equipment, new vehicles, new machinery. Maybe you want to get an electric vehicle, an electric truck. You have to think about these things, and you have to kind of weigh the cost and how you're going to finance your purchases, what the tax breaks are going to be, what it can save you in energy costs, and efficiency. New equipment can make you more efficient. So I just think you need to kind of take a look at the big picture and see what your business can benefit from in terms of new items that that can be helpful to you. I mean, maybe it's just a question of upgrading your iPhones, something like that, or maybe it's some piece of heavy machinery to do construction work. So whatever that, or farming. If you're a farmer, you have to think about that too. So that was one that I.
Okay, there was one more you said we didn't cover.
Yes, one more. Sales. Here's your sweet spot.
Actually, if you don't do sales, none of the other ones matter, do they?
Right. And I didn't, like I said, when I did these, I didn't put them in any particular order. But NFIB does expect, they poll small business owners, and the expectation for the coming year is decreased sales.
Really?
So, yeah. Now, that doesn't mean that your particular business is going to suffer, but, because it's really case by case and you have to think about it. But I think you have to really think about what would decreased sales mean for you. Like if you're having less money come through the door, maybe you can't afford those new machines now. And think about, I saw a number. I think the Fed, the Federal Reserve, released a number that consumer debt in August topped $17 trillion. Who has money to buy anything if you're selling to consumers?
And the student loans start coming due right now too.
Student loans, the price at the gas tank, how you can even drive it? If you have bricks and mortar, don't expect to see people walking through your door. I mean, you have to be realistic about the situation. And as I said, not every business is impacted in the same way. Your business might be selling to other businesses that can't say no. They need it and whatever. But think about all of these concepts, all of these issues, and then I think you can kind of make better projections for the coming year. You can make a budget. You can make an action plan of what you think is going to happen. And then, of course, this kind of thing, budgeting and planning, is something that you tweak on a regular basis, every week, every month. So nothing's written in stone. Things could be tough, maybe in January and February. Things could be, boost way up. So you have to kind of be agile and ready to respond to changes.
May I share with you a new business initiative that I launched last Tuesday night?
Yes, go ahead.
We've been talking around it, and you've been validating as I've been listening to you with some of the things. I am setting up marketing and sales collaboratives anywhere in the country. And when 10 of them get together, I will create a postcard with the QR codes that if they become a member of the collaborative, I will do a 19-minute video with them, and I'll pull out. We'll talk business, and we'll pull out the value of their business. And I just launched it. But one of the reasons why I mentioned it, Barbie, because I said, in my mind, business, small or large, is about collaboration. You have to build those relationships, and that's and you touched upon trust. A matter of trust. Trust has to be in those relationships.
And we talked about networking to find out information.
And I did it Tuesday night. I networked for the first time in like 20 years out in public, and I had a lot of fun. You have a chance to meet a lot of folks in a short amount of time.
Right.
And I had a mission. So that even made it more exciting. So thank you for your time again, Barbara.
Sure.
Have we covered all the things now?
We've covered all 10 items, yes.
And I think there's probably more than 10 that we've covered, but it's great. And everything working out okay with the book? I mean,
the book is in production. The covers are finalized, and we're ready to.
What, you put a new number on the book?
No,
right?
we make changes and things. So.
I'm talking about the book cover.
Yeah, the book cover. We have to make updates and change what's on the cover, and I have to work on that with the publisher.
So may I ask for some time in November
Sure.
when
When we launch,
well,
absolutely.
when you
When
launch,
when the books, when the
ready.
books launch. Right.
Yes, yes.
Right.
Um, uh, you'll get an email later on today, and it'll have a video about a real exciting book launch. You'll see it in the email. So
Okay.
thank you again, and
Thank you,
always
David.
wonderful. How's the weather down there in Florida now?
Fabulous. I love it. Can't be too hot for me.
Well, that's when it's nice, but don't you get hit with a lot of bad weather, or you miss it?
I don't know. It's fine. It rains. It stops. It's it's weather.
Because I talked to other Floridians who get hit with hurricanes and stuff. But
We,
well,
we
thank
don't
you
mention
again.
the H word, so
Oh, oh,
we
oh.
don't mention it.
Have a great day, and
Thank you.
I'll see you soon.
Okay.
Let me see how. I'll stop recording.